Veteran broadcaster Chris Wallace is leaving CNN after just 3 years there. This announcement comes as his CNN weekend program, The Chris Wallace Show, averaged below 600,000 total viewers during the election year.
As media outlets struggle to retain trust and relevance, CNN faces a particularly turbulent period. Recently, longtime journalist Chris Wallace announced his departure from CNN, a decision that stunned audiences and sparked questions about the network's future. Once known as the pioneering 24-hour news channel, CNN now grapples with a loss of viewership, high-profile exits, and ongoing accusations of bias. Today, we're taking a closer look into the history, challenges, and uncertain future of CNN. The role of high-profile departures in CNN's decline. The recent departure of Chris Wallace has highlighted a growing issue within CNN, where notable figures continue to exit amid internal and external challenges. Wallace, who joined in 2021 after a successful run at Fox News, was expected to bring a seasoned, balanced voice to the network.
It may sound corny, but I feel we've built a community here. There's a lot you can do on Sunday mornings. The fact you've chosen to spend this hour with us is something I cherish. But after 18 years, I have decided to leave Fox. I want to try something new, to go beyond politics to all the things I'm interested in.
However, his sudden exit reflects deeper issues within CNN that other prominent departures, such as those of Brooke Baldwin and Chris Cuomo, have also underscored. Baldwin, who left CNN in 2021 after more than a decade, commented on the lack of opportunity for women at the network, saying, quote, "The most influential anchors on our network, the highest paid, are men. My bosses, my executives are men." This trend of departures has shaken CNN's internal morale and cast doubt on its stability, particularly as talented people continue to step away from the network. Chris Cuomo's exit in 2021, amid a scandal involving his assistance to his brother Andrew Cuomo, brought to light ethical questions within CNN's leadership. His departure left a gap that proved challenging to fill and further damaged the network's public image. Each of these exits has rippled through the network, creating uncertainty and highlighting a broader struggle to retain and develop high-profile talent. CNN now faces a reality of building new relationships with audiences who may be losing confidence in the network's consistency and credibility. CNN's declining viewership, a sign of crisis? Viewership data paints a stark picture for CNN, with the network experiencing a steady decline over recent years. Once a ratings powerhouse, CNN's viewership has dropped sharply, even during periods when other networks are thriving. In 2023, CNN recorded one of its lowest viewership numbers in recent history, as both MSNBC and Fox News maintained significantly higher audience shares. CNN's viewership challenges have been attributed to a number of factors, including the rise of alternative news sources and digital platforms that cater to a generation of viewers who prefer online content over traditional television. The declining viewership isn't just an issue of ratings, it's also a financial concern. With fewer viewers turning in, CNN has faced a drop in advertising revenue, leading to budget cuts and a reconsideration of its programming strategy. These cuts have resulted in leaner production budgets and, in some cases, the scaling back of investigative journalism that was once central to the network's appeal. CNN has struggled to adapt its content to meet changing audience expectations, a problem that has left it vulnerable at a time when news consumption is increasingly driven by digital and on-demand platforms. Impact of the Trump administration on CNN's reputation. The Trump administration's relationship with CNN can best be described as adversarial. Donald Trump frequently attacked CNN during his presidency, branding the network as fake news and encouraging his supporters to distrust its coverage. This adversarial stance significantly impacted CNN's public perception, particularly among conservative viewers who saw Trump's accusations as validation of their own suspicions about media bias. Trump's words echoed among his supporters, who adopted a critical view of the network and came to see it as emblematic of a broader media establishment working against the administration. CNN's coverage of Trump's presidency was often met with polarizing reactions, with supporters of the president perceiving the network as overly critical and biased.
Honestly, I think you should let me run the country. You run CNN.
All right.
And if you did it well, your ratings would be much better.
This ongoing clash between Trump and CNN highlighted the extent to which the network had become a target for conservative anger and distrust. The fallout from this animosity extended beyond the administration, with public trust in CNN remaining strained even after Trump left office. The distrust CNN faces today is a lasting remnant of an era defined by political polarization and skepticism towards mainstream news sources, a problem CNN continues to grapple with as it seeks to rebuild its reputation.
This news service will be called the Cable News Network and will program continually updated half-hour segments of national news, business news, sports, and features 24 hours a day.
CNN's historical context and its original mission. When CNN launched in 1980, it was groundbreaking, becoming the world's first 24-hour news network. Founded by media mogul Ted Turner, CNN's mission was straightforward: deliver constant, around-the-clock news to viewers. Turner's vision was to create a channel that could cover breaking news at any hour, a revolutionary concept at the time. CNN quickly became known for its comprehensive and on-the-ground reporting, a far cry from the commentary-driven landscape it inhabits today. "We won't be signing off until the world ends," Turner famously said in an early interview, a statement that captured CNN's ambitious vision and dedication to news. CNN's reputation soared in the early 90s, with its coverage of the Gulf War earning it a level of credibility and trust that other networks struggled to match. With reporters like Bernard Shaw reporting live from conflict zones, CNN became a household name associated with in-depth and reliable journalism. But as competition increased and the news industry evolved, CNN shifted its focus, gradually incorporating more commentary and opinion-based programming. This change was partly in response to the rising influence of networks like Fox News, which found success by blending news with commentary. Today, some argue CNN has strayed from its founding principles, choosing instead to engage in the same partisanship that Ted Turner once sought to avoid. The original vision of CNN, a neutral network delivering news without bias or commentary, now feels like a distant memory. Changing media landscape. CNN's challenges are not isolated. They reflect a broader shift in how audiences consume news. In the last decade, traditional television news has faced an uphill battle against digital platforms and alternative media sources. Younger audiences, in particular, have largely abandoned television in favor of social media, streaming services, and independent news channels, leaving CNN to compete with a fragmented media landscape that it was not designed to navigate. The network attempted to reach these audiences through CNN Plus, a streaming service that launched in early 2022. But the service failed to gain traction, shutting down after less than a month. Former CNN host Brian Stelter called the collapse a big black eye for the network, underscoring the difficulties CNN faces in capturing a new generation of viewers. The rapid shift toward digital and on-demand content has left legacy networks like CNN struggling to remain relevant. Unlike its digital competitors, which operate with lower production costs and a flexibility that allows for quick adaptation to trends, CNN remains tied to the structures of traditional broadcasting. Additionally, the rise of platforms such as YouTube and Twitter has allowed independent journalists to reach audiences directly, further diluting CNN's audiences. Many viewers, especially younger ones, are now more likely to get their news from personalities on these platforms than from network anchors. As CNN's struggles continue, it faces a choice: adapt more fully to a digital-first world or risk becoming obsolete in an era where content is as abundant as it is instant.
My show had value, and that what I was doing had value. And in the end, I try not to cry on TV. And this is kind of like being on TV, so I apologize.
Joy Reid's departure from MSNBC marks a major shift in the network's primetime lineup. As the first Black woman to anchor a primetime show on the network, Reid brought a strong voice to political commentary. Her firing comes amid broader changes at MSNBC, sparking debate about its direction and the role of diverse perspectives in cable news. Joy Reid's career at MSNBC. Joy joined MSNBC in 2011 as a contributor, bringing her sharp political analysis to the network's coverage. She quickly made a name for herself, leading to her first hosting role with The Reid Report in 2014. While the show was short-lived, it set the stage for her rise within the network. In 2016, she launched AM Joy, a weekend morning program that gained a dedicated audience, particularly among progressive viewers. her ability to dissect complex political issues with clarity made her a standout voice, and the show thrived during the Trump presidency. In 2020, Reid made history by becoming the first black woman to anchor a primetime cable news show with The ReidOut. The program focused heavily on racial justice, voter suppression, and the political shifts defining the post-Trump era. Throughout her tenure, she was unafraid to call out figures she saw as threats to democracy. Quote, "Donald Trump and his ilk are not loyal to America," she said during one of her broadcasts. "They are loyal to power and to their own survival." Statements like these earned her both praise and criticism, but she remained unapologetic in her approach. Beyond television, Reid built a reputation as an author and commentator. She wrote books examining political fractures in America, including Fracture Barack Obama, the Clintons, and the Racial Divide, and The Man Who Sold America, Trump and the Unraveling of the American Story. Her work highlighted how race and politics intersect in modern America, a theme that carried into her on-air reporting. Despite her impact, the shifting media landscape and MSNBC's internal restructuring ultimately led to her departure. The circumstances surrounding her departure. Joy Reid's firing from MSNBC did not come as a complete surprise to those closely following the network's recent shifts. MSNBC has been restructuring its lineup, focusing more on straight news programming and adjusting to changes in audience demand. Reid's show, The ReidOut, was one of several casualties in this reshuffling, with her primetime slot now going to former White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki. While MSNBC framed the move as part of a broader strategic shift, some saw it as an attempt to move away from more overtly opinionated programming. Ratings were also a factor. As cable news viewership declined following the 2024 election, MSNBC struggled to retain the same level of engagement. Reid's program, which thrived during the Trump years, saw a drop in viewership as political fatigue set in among audiences. Conservative critics had long called for her removal, accusing her of bias, while some liberals believed the network was abandoning progressive voices. Reid herself addressed the ratings issue, saying, quote, "Of course numbers matter in this business, but let's be honest, if I were a white man with my same audience, would we even be having this conversation?" Reactions from within MSNBC were mixed. While some colleagues, including Rachel Maddow, expressed support for Reid, others within the network reportedly saw her as a divisive figure. The broader media industry's trend towards personality-driven news shows had been shifting, and MSNBC appeared to be following suit.
Hey, dear friends and family, we got to talk about something important. The cancellation of Joy Reid's excellent program, The ReidOut, is deeply concerning, and it's not okay. As her loyal audience and supporters, we are disappointed by this decision, and we urge MSNBC to reconsider their decision and, by our participation, recognize the audience they will lose. Look, I'm her friend. I'm also a fan of the show, and I benefited from her program as a viewer and as an occasional guest. She and her producers always found time to support my projects, many of them talking about hard but important subjects like missing women of color, reparations, America's HBCUs, the lack of equity and representation, female political candidates, living wages, Latin and Asian relationships, and the Poor People's Campaign. And yes, we talked about popular things too, like living single and American fiction, and even my own mama, Mother Susu.
Reid's departure was part of a larger conversation about the direction of political journalism in the post-Trump era. Quote, "This is bigger than just me," she said in response to her firing. "This is about who gets to shape the conversation in this country, and I'm not going to stop it just because MSNBC made a business decision." Joy Reid's response. Joy did not hold back when addressing her departure. In an emotional yet defiant statement, she made it clear she has no regrets about the way she conducted herself on air. Quote, "I am not sorry," she said bluntly. "I stood up for what I believe in, I called out the rise of fascism in this country, and I spoke the truth, even when it made people uncomfortable." Her words resonated with supporters who viewed her as one of the few mainstream journalists willing to challenge powerful figures without hesitation.
Happy Monday, everyone, and we begin tonight with what I think is the question. When you are in the midst of a crisis, and specifically a crisis of democracy, how do you resist? When fascism isn't just coming, it's already here. So what, if anything, can you do about it?
During her final broadcast of The ReidOut, she thanked her viewers and staff, but did not shy away from the larger implications of her firing. Quote, There is a reason why voices like mine are being pushed out of mainstream spaces, she said. There's a reason why so many of us who challenge power, who refuse to be silent, find ourselves on the outside looking in. As she signed off, she urged her audience to remain vigilant, warning that political extremism was a growing threat. Quote, "If you think this fight is over, you're not paying attention." Reid also took to social media to express her thoughts, posting a message that read, "Black women in media have always had to fight harder, speak louder, and push further. That will never change, neither will I." Her supporters rallied around her with hashtags like Keep Joy Reid and MSNBC Fail trending as viewers criticized the network's decision. Prominent figures in media and politics voiced their support, with one former colleague calling her, quote, "one of the sharpest minds in political journalism." Even those who disagreed with her politically acknowledged her influence, with a conservative commentator stating, quote, "You don't have to like Joy Reid to admit she was a force on MSNBC." Despite the abrupt nature of her firing, Reid made it clear she wasn't done yet. Quote, "This isn't the end of my voice. It's just the beginning of something new." Though she's not yet announced her next move, her confidence in her future suggests she will not be disappearing from the political landscape anytime soon. Broader implications. Joy Reid's departure is a part of a larger shift in the media industry, particularly in how networks handle political coverage. In the Trump era, opinion-driven programming flourished, with anchors like Reid, Rachel Maddow, and Tucker Carlson commanding loyal audiences. But as the political landscape changed, networks began moving towards more traditional news coverage. MSNBC's decision to replace Reid with Jen Psaki, a former Biden administration official, signals a shift towards insider political analysis rather than the fiery commentary that defined Reid's show. For many viewers, Reid's firing raises concerns about representation in cable news. With her exit, MSNBC loses one of its most prominent black female voices in primetime, fueling criticism that the network is sidelining diverse perspectives. Quote, "I'm not the first black woman to be pushed out of a mainstream media space, and I won't be the last," Reid said. Her departure follows other high-profile exits of non-white hosts from major networks, leading some to question whether corporate media is prioritizing a return to a more conventional, establishment-friendly model. The move also highlights the ongoing battle over media influence in an election year. Conservative critics celebrated Reid's firing, viewing it as a rejection of what they saw as MSNBC's partisan bias. Meanwhile, progressives warned that the network was retreating from the kind of bold political commentary that had once made it a counterweight to right-wing media. "This is bigger than one show," a former MSNBC colleague remarked. "It's about whether mainstream media still has space for real truth-telling or whether it's just another tool of the political class." Reid's firing comes at a time when trust in traditional media is at an all-time low. As audiences increasingly turn to independent platforms, some speculate that figures like Reid may find greater freedom outside the constraints of corporate news. Quote, "They can cancel my show," she said, "but they can't cancel the truth." Whether she continues on television, starts a podcast, or builds her own platform, her influence is unlikely to fade. If anything, her departure from MSNBC may mark the start of a new chapter, one where she speaks with even fewer restrictions.
You know, it's like we won't have her to kick around anymore, and there's a little sadness in that. This is one of the many reasons why most of us are absolutely delighted to see her get fired.
Depending on your point of view, this is either the best or worst time ever to be the face of network news. Our next guest would know. He anchors the top-rated World News Tonight here on ABC. Please welcome David Muir. Hi, David. How are you?
I'm great. Good to be with you, Jimmy.
In the ever-changing landscape of broadcast journalism, few names carry as much weight as David Muir. As the trusted face of ABC World News Tonight, his recent absences have sparked a whirlwind of speculation about his future with the network. The Emmy-winning journalist's temporary disappearances from the anchor desk have sent ripples through social media, leaving viewers wondering about the fate of their favorite news anchor. The origins of the rumors. During the scorching heat of August 2024, ABC's beloved anchor unexpectedly disappeared from screens nationwide. David Muir's absence from World News Tonight triggered a cascade of speculation that soon spiraled into a digital wildlife of rumors. The anchor desk, normally commanded by Muir's authoritative presence, found temporary stewardship under weekend anchors Whit Johnson and Lindsay Davis. The speculation gained unprecedented momentum when an amateur content creator released a meticulously edited YouTube video suggesting Muir's imminent departure from the network. The video, later revealed to be partially generated by AI, wove together a compelling narrative of supposed insider information and carefully selected clips that painted a picture of brewing discord between Muir and ABC News. The digital manipulation was subtle enough to convince thousands of viewers, causing the rumor to spread rapidly across social media platforms. Meanwhile, the truth painted a starkly different picture. As speculation reached its peak, Muir was actually wandering the cobblestone streets of Italy, embracing his Mediterranean heritage and taking a well-deserved summer break. His social media accounts occasionally flickered to life with glimpses of ornate doors, sun-drenched piazzas, and casual moments that seemed worlds away from the mounting rumors at home. The contrast between the reality of his peaceful vacation and the growing storm of speculation highlighted the peculiar nature of modern media narratives. The timing of these rumors coincidentally aligned with other high-profile media personalities' career moves, including Harris Faulkner's temporary absence from Fox News, which had similarly sparked unfounded departure speculation. Back at ABC, the network maintained its usual programming rhythm, with no official statements addressing the speculation, a silence that ironically only served to intensify public curiosity. The rumor mill churned particularly vigorously on social media platforms, where Muir's dedicated followers scrutinized every post and absence for hidden meaning. Yet through it all, Muir's Instagram continued to tell its own story, one of a journalist simply taking a brief respite from the relentless pace of nightly news, rather than orchestrating a career-altering departure from his 2-decade-long home at ABC News. The reality behind the absences. Beneath the swirling speculation lay a far more compelling truth. Rather than signaling a departure, his temporary absences from the anchor desk actually marked periods of intense professional growth and strategic positioning within ABC News. The 50-year-old journalist's schedule revealed a carefully orchestrated balance between his numerous responsibilities, with each absence serving a distinct purpose in his multifaceted role at the network. Most notably, during the height of the departure rumors, Muir was preparing for one of the most significant assignments of his career, moderating the historic presidential debate between Vice President Kamala Harris and former President Donald Trump in Philadelphia. The National Constitution Center, transformed into an intimate debate stage bathed in black and blue hues, became Muir's temporary office. This prestigious assignment, far from suggesting a withdrawal from ABC News, reinforced his central position within the network's political coverage landscape. The reality of Muir's professional life extended far beyond his nightly appearances on World News Tonight. His role as co-anchor of 2020 with Deborah Roberts demanded additional preparation and filming time, while his position as the network's primary breaking news anchor required him to maintain constant readiness for unexpected events. These overlapping responsibilities necessitated occasional breaks from the rigorous nightly news schedule, breaks that were both strategic and essential for maintaining the high standards viewers had come to expect. Behind the scenes, Muir's absences often coincided with intensive preparation periods for major interviews and special reports. The network's careful management of his schedule reflected a long-term investment in their lead anchor, allowing him to deliver comprehensive coverage of significant events while maintaining the energy and perspective necessary for nightly news delivery. His temporary departures from the desk represented not an exit strategy, but rather a sophisticated approach to modern broadcast journalism. The pattern of his absences revealed a deliberate strategy by ABC News to maximize their premier anchor's effectiveness. While weekend anchors Whit Johnson and Lindsay Davis capably maintained the network's standards during his breaks, these transitions were part of a well-orchestrated system designed to sustain the quality and depth of ABC's news coverage. Life beyond the newsroom.
You recently got away for a little bit, right? You went to the Caribbean with your family, with your parents?
Well, yeah, this is the thing, right? I mean, so you know how you get a little older. Oh, there they are, look, you know.
I love your mom's hair.
Yeah, she went gray in the pandemic. The fabulous, you know, she's like, you know what, I'm going to go all natural. And she looks amazing.
She does look amazing.
She had my stepdad there. So I thought, you know, this Christmas, you know, Thanksgiving, I did my dad and my stepmom. And I thought, you know, Christmas, I'll do my mom and my stepdad and take them along to the Caribbean. And you know, you tell them, bring the sunscreen. Now, you're taking care of them now, kind of, right? Bring the sunscreen. sunscreen, the sunglasses, something to read.
You turn into the parent.
And I said, watch The White Lotus.
Away from the intense glare of studio lights and the pressure of breaking news, David Muir's private world unfolds in a setting that seems worlds apart from the fast-paced environment of network television. His $7 million sanctuary in the New York Finger Lakes region stands as a testament to his appreciation for tranquility. The historic property, with its sweeping waterfront views and classic architecture, serves as more than a residence. It represents a carefully cultivated escape from the relentless news cycle. In this peaceful retreat, Muir's constant companion is his beloved dog Axel, whose presence features prominently in the journalist's rare personal social media posts. These quiet interactions with Axel provide a grounding force for someone who regularly navigates the complexities of global events. The lakeside property itself tells a story of thoughtful restoration and preservation. Muir's commitment to maintaining the historical integrity of the estate while incorporating modern comforts mirrors his approach to journalism, respecting tradition while embracing contemporary needs. The grounds, meticulously maintained throughout the changing seasons, provide a year-round sanctuary where the veteran journalist can decompress and recharge between assignments. During his time away from the anchor desk, Muir's routine shifts dramatically from the structured environment of ABC News. Morning swims in the lake replace early editorial meetings, while afternoons might find him exploring the local community he's grown to cherish. The historic village, with its small-town charm and tight-knit community, offers an atmosphere of normalcy that contrasts sharply with his public persona. The future at ABC.
You should just wait until the news airs. I can give you all the material you need. But honestly, we come in every single morning and we work in the newsroom and we have these meetings, and I don't know why. I mean, I do like the people I work with. Right. But the meeting we have at 10 a.m. and the meeting we have at 1 p.m. or 3 p.m. is not the newscast we end up doing at 6:30 at night, because the news is at lightning speed and every day there's breaking news. And it's hard to believe. A year ago this week, this puts this in perspective, it was the first debate between Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton. Doesn't it feel like a decade ago?
As ABC News navigates the evolving landscape of broadcast journalism, David Muir's role continues to expand beyond traditional boundaries. The network's strategic positioning of their lead anchor reflects a carefully crafted vision for the future, one that builds upon Muir's proven track record while adapting to the changing demands of modern news consumption. His contract renewal, secured through 2028, demonstrates ABC's long-term investment in maintaining stability at the helm of their flagship program. Lester Holt's legacy.
We have some news here at NBC. NBC Nightly News anchor Lester Holt announced today that he's making a big change. After 10 years of anchoring nightly news every single weekday, he will be stepping aside from the broadcast this summer, and he will be shifting his focus to Dateline full-time.
Lester Holt's career at NBC is a testament to his longevity and credibility in the world of broadcast journalism. When he joined the network in 2000, he was already a seasoned journalist, having spent nearly 2 decades at CBS affiliates, honing his skills as a reporter and anchor. At NBC, he quickly established himself as a reliable presence, first as an anchor for MSNBC Live, and then as a substitute host for NBC Nightly News and Today. His ability to remain calm under pressure made him a natural choice for breaking news coverage, and it wasn't long before he became a key player in the network's primetime news programming. His defining moment at NBC came in 2015, when he was called upon to step into one of the most high-profile roles in television journalism. Brian Williams, the longtime anchor of NBC Nightly News, was suspended for embellishing details about his reporting experiences, plunging the network into a credibility crisis. Holt, who had spent years anchoring the weekend editions of Nightly News, was named interim anchor during the scandal. It was an unenviable position. NBC was facing immense scrutiny, and the trust of its viewers was on shaky ground. Yet Holt's steady and measured approach reassured audiences. His background in hard news, combined with a no-nonsense delivery, helped stabilize the broadcast during a turbulent period. Later that year, NBC made the decision permanent, and Holt officially became the full-time anchor of Nightly News. His appointment was historic. He became the first black journalist to serve as the solo anchor of a major network evening news broadcast. The move signaled a new era for NBC, but it also presented a daunting challenge. At the time, NBC Nightly News was already falling behind ABC World News Tonight with David Muir in viewership, and the shift in leadership meant Holt had to work even harder to retain the audience. His strategy was simple: stick to the fundamentals of solid journalism. Over the next decade, he cemented his reputation as one of the most trusted names in news. He led coverage of major global events, from terrorist attacks to presidential elections, and was often at the helm during some of the most critical moments in modern history. His ability to conduct thorough but fair interviews made him a respected figure in political journalism. In 2016, he moderated the first presidential debate between Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton, a high-stakes event that showcased his ability to maintain control in a charged environment. His performance was widely praised for being firm yet impartial, a rare feat in an era of increasingly partisan media. Despite his success, Holt's tenure at Nightly News was not without challenges. Ratings remained a concern for NBC, as ABC's World News Tonight continued to dominate the evening news race. While Nightly News maintained a loyal audience, it struggled to close the gap with its competitor, and some media analysts questioned whether network news in general was losing relevance in the digital age. But Holt's presence ensured that NBC remained a formidable player in the industry. Even as television viewership declined, his ability to deliver authoritative and fact-driven reporting kept many longtime viewers tuned in. His decision to leave Nightly News marks the end of a significant chapter in broadcast journalism. After a decade as the face of NBC's flagship news program, his departure raises questions about the future direction of the network. While Holt has assured audiences that he'll continue as the full-time anchor of Dateline NBC, his exit from Nightly News creates a leadership vacuum that will not be easy to fill. The battle for his successor.
Lester Holt is signing off from the NBC Nightly News desk for good. The anchor will step down from the long-running program in June, NBC announced on February 24th. Though Holt's successor has yet to be named, fans won't have to go far to see what he'll do next. The renowned broadcaster is moving into a full-time role at NBC's Dateline, where he served as principal anchor since 2011.
With Holt's exit confirmed, the race to replace him has ignited fierce competition among NBC's top correspondents. Two names have emerged as frontrunners: Tom Lamas and Hallie Jackson. Lamas, a former ABC News anchor, joined NBC in 2021 with the expectation that he would eventually take over Nightly News. He was reportedly promised the role upon his arrival, and some within the network believe he has the experience and presence to step up. However, Jackson, who currently anchors the Sunday edition of Nightly News, sees herself as the rightful heir to Holt's position. She's been with NBC since 2014, covering major political stories and serving as a senior Washington correspondent. According to insiders, she's made it clear to network executives that she wants the job, leading to a behind-the-scenes power struggle between the two journalists. Despite their credentials, some industry insiders have expressed doubts about whether either candidate has the level of recognition needed to carry the flagship broadcast. A former NBC staffer suggested that neither Lamas nor Jackson had the widespread familiarity or trust that Holt cultivated over the years. This uncertainty has only fueled speculation that NBC might look outside its current roster to find a more seasoned or recognizable journalist. NBC's struggles behind the scenes. Holt's departure comes at a time of broader instability for NBC News. The network has already faced significant upheaval with the recent loss of Hoda Kotb, another high-profile figure. Combined with the ongoing decline in traditional television viewership, these changes have left NBC in a precarious position. Industry insiders have warned that NBC could face the same challenges that CBS has encountered with its evening news program. When Norah O'Donnell took over at CBS Evening News, the show's ratings suffered, and the network has yet to fully recover from the transition. NBC executives are reportedly worried that Nightly News could experience a similar fate if they fail to find the right replacement for Holt. Adding to the uncertainty, Holt's departure is occurring at a time when the entire television news industry is grappling with declining audiences. Younger viewers are increasingly turning to digital platforms for their news, putting pressure on traditional broadcasts to evolve. NBC is already behind ABC in terms of ratings, and losing a familiar anchor like Holt could further erode its position. Holt's future and the road ahead. While Holt is stepping away from nightly news, he's not leaving NBC entirely. He's confirmed he'll remain with the network as the full-time anchor of Dateline NBC, a move that will allow him to focus on long-form investigative journalism. In a statement, Holt expressed excitement about expanding his role at Dateline, emphasizing that he will have the opportunity to explore in-depth stories that matter to him. This shift suggests that while he may be leaving the nightly news desk, he's not ready to fully retire from journalism. NBC now faces the difficult task of maintaining stability in its news division while navigating an industry in flux. The decision on Holt's replacement could shape the future of nightly news for years to come. Whether the network chooses Lamas, Jackson, or an unexpected candidate, the transition will be closely watched by both media insiders and the viewing public. The financial factor. Beyond journalistic legacy and succession battles, financial considerations may have played a significant role in Holt's decision to leave NBC Nightly News. Reports indicate that Holt's salary is significantly higher than those of his potential successors, with his contract reportedly worth around $10 million a year. In contrast, Tom Lamas, one of the frontrunners, earns a fraction of that amount, approximately $2.5 million. With traditional television news struggling to maintain its audience, networks are under increasing pressure to cut costs. ABC and CBS have both made strategic financial adjustments in recent years, and NBC may be following suit. By transitioning Holt out of nightly news while keeping him at Dateline, NBC could be looking to reallocate funds to other areas of the news division. The future of evening news.
Tonight, the winter storm slamming parts of the east at this hour. The accidents, the treacherous driving, the images coming in now. And now record-breaking cold coming in for millions across the country.
Lester Holt's exit from nightly news comes at a pivotal moment for the future of traditional television journalism. With the rise of digital and streaming platforms, the way audiences consume news is shifting rapidly. Younger viewers are less likely to tune in to a scheduled broadcast when they can get news updates instantly from social media, YouTube, or dedicated news apps. Jim's meteoric rise. Jim Acosta's career begins in radio. After studying mass communication in college, he took a job at WMAL in Washington, D.C. His transition to television came in the mid-1990s, starting as a desk assistant for the local Fox affiliate, WTTG-TV. Within a few years, Acosta moved to Knoxville's WBIR-TV as a reporter and substitute anchor, invaluable training ground that set him up for bigger roles ahead. During his formative TV years, Acosta bounced among notable stations, Fort Worth's KTVT and Chicago's WBBM, before landing at CBS News. There, he covered the 2004 John Kerry presidential campaign and reported on significant national events like the Iraq War and the aftermath of Hurricane Katrina. In 2007, Acosta joined CNN. His timing was impeccable. He stepped into an era of increasingly fierce political discourse and around-the-clock coverage of election cycles. It wasn't long before Acosta rose through the ranks. He reported extensively on the 2008 Obama and Clinton campaigns, often anchoring CNN's weekend political segments. By 2012, he was promoted to national political correspondent, eventually becoming the network's senior White House correspondent. His questioning style, unflinching and direct, grew both praise and criticism. Colleagues noted that Acosta had an uncanny knack for pressing political figures on contentious issues. Viewers, in turn, found him either refreshingly bold or frustratingly confrontational. Acosta's star power expanded further when he covered President Obama's historic trip to Cuba in 2016, cornering Cuban President Raul Castro on his country's human rights record. The same fearless demeanor carried over when he covered the Trump administration, thrusting Acosta into the spotlight like never before. From that point on, his brand became tied to rapid-fire questioning, big headlines, and a sense of dogged determination that defined his time at CNN. Showdowns in the White House briefing room.
There will be several White House officials at the rally tomorrow.
Will those officials, or will you be there, for example?
I will be there.
Will you and other White House officials be wearing masks at the rally?
It's a personal choice. I won't be wearing a mask. I can't speak for my colleagues.
And why won't you wear a mask? Is it sort of a personal political statement? Is it because the president would be disappointed in you if you don't wear a mask?
It's a personal decision. I'm tested regularly. I feel that it's safe for me not to be wearing a mask, and I'm in compliance with CDC guidelines, which are recommended but not required.
For many Americans, Jim Acosta's defining moments came during the Trump administration. While Donald Trump had sparred with plenty of reporters, his confrontations with Acosta were particularly explosive. At a May 2016 press conference, Trump famously called Acosta a real beauty, mocking his line of questioning and CNN's coverage. By January 2017, Acosta found himself in the crosshairs again, labeled fake news, when he attempted to ask about Russia during a press conference. The drama didn't stop there. In August 2017, Acosta had a heated exchange with White House advisor Stephen Miller over the RAISE Act, a contentious immigration proposal. Many news outlets described Acosta as CNN's chief antagonist to the Trump administration, a role both revered and criticized. Soon after, he repeatedly clashed with White House Press Secretary Sarah Huckabee Sanders over the administration's treatment of the press. One of the biggest flashpoints occurred in November 2018. During a post-midterm election press conference, Acosta tried to follow up on questions about immigration rhetoric. President Trump told him that's enough, and an intern reached to take back the microphone. The confrontation escalated, with the White House accusing Acosta of placing hands on the intern. Acosta was promptly barred from the White House grounds, his press pass revoked. CNN pushed back, calling the move retaliatory. The ensuing dispute, centered around a purportedly doctored video circulated by the White House, turned into a legal showdown. Ultimately, Acosta's credentials were restored after CNN filed a lawsuit arguing his First and Fifth Amendment rights had been violated. The legal victory solidified Acosta's image as a combative reporter willing to stake his own career on the principles of press freedom. His brand became inextricably linked with the Trump battles, making him a hero to some and a symbol of media arrogance to others. A changing CNN landscape.
Thank you, Mr. President. I wanted to challenge you on one of the statements that you made in the tail end of the campaign in the midterms. That
Here we go.
If you don't mind, Mr. President, that this caravan was an invasion. As you know, Mr. President,
I consider it to be an invasion.
As you know, Mr. President, the caravan was not an invasion. It's a group of migrants moving up from Central America towards the border with the U.S.
Thank you for telling me.
After the 2020 elections and the swearing in of President Biden, CNN opted to reorganize its talent lineup. Jim Acosta was elevated to chief domestic correspondent in January 2021, and he began anchoring weekend shows. During that period, CNN was in a state of flux, juggling new leadership and shifting strategies. The network, once laser-focused on Trump coverage, began readjusting to a different political atmosphere. By late 2024 and early 25, rumblings of significant internal changes grew louder. Mark Thompson had taken the reins as CNN's CEO with a mandate to optimize the channel's resources and push harder into digital. Rumors circulated that some anchors might be offered new time slots, even those considered big network veterans. One of the prime targets was Jim Acosta, then anchoring a 10 a.m. Eastern show that commanded decent viewership. In January 2025, CNN unveiled a sweeping programming update. Wolf Blitzer and Pamela Brown would co-anchor The Situation Room during an expanded morning block, effectively removing Acosta's show from the daytime schedule. The replacement plan for Acosta was controversial, a midnight to 2 a.m. slot designed to capture a West Coast audience and feed into international coverage. Insiders described the move as either an out-of-the-box opportunity or a significant downgrade. Facing the possibility of retreating from a coveted morning slot to a late-night show, Acosta weighed his options. Ultimately, he declined the overnight opportunity, leaving many staffers wondering if CNN's leadership hoped he would do exactly that. Aftermath and future possibilities. The news of Acosta's exit spread swiftly. Some called it a firing, while others suggested it was a choice. Regardless, the end result was the same. Jim Acosta was leaving CNN. In statements to various media outlets, unnamed sources hinted that executives stood ready to keep him, but on terms that Acosta found unappealing. The anchor, known for challenging presidents on live television, wasn't going to fade quietly into the overnight ether. Industry speculation about his next chapter is rampant. In an era marked by high-profile journalists striking out on their own, Don Lemon, Megyn Kelly, and Tucker Carlson, among others, Acosta may launch a similar venture. Several journalists have turned to subscription-based newsletters or digital platforms that allow them to create content unrestrained by network structures. For Acosta, whose brand rests on investigative digging and accountability reporting, a direct-to-audience approach could be advantageous. CNN's trajectory also aligns with broader shifts in cable news, particularly heading into another presidential election cycle. Networks are analyzing who best fits their evolving brand identity. For many, the focus may lean more towards neutral coverage, albeit still within the boundaries of cable's 24/7 spin. Now it's time to hear from you. What do you think Jim Acosta should do next? Let us know in the comments section below.